Welcome to the next episode of new episode of the VIP show. Today our guest is Amrut Deshmukh. Like the guy as like उनके लिए मैंने मैनिफेस्ट किया था कि जब मैं 2019 VIRC CA कॉन्फ्रेंस में था तो CA अमृत देशमुख केम एज अ स्पीकर देन इन थाने लाइक द थिएटर कि मतलब उन्होंने द सेवेंथ हैबिट उस टाइम रिलीज हुआ था उस मतलब वो बुक का फिर पब्लिकेशन एंड ऑल। तो आई थिंक कि जब भी पॉडकास्ट स्टार्ट करूंगा दिस शुड बी माय फर्स्ट गेस्ट ऐसा सोचा था बट इवेंचुअली फोर्थ फिफ्थ गेस्ट यू आर हियर सो
Okay.
या
Good. So
सो
happy to
बट
know this.
yes so I wanted to just know like why don't you use your title CA? Most of the people just think that I want to go for those two prefixes, the CA, then why don't you use it?
Wow. I think it's a very good question, Vipul. What a question to start with.
Yeah,
I was in the morning. I was talking to my friend. She has come as to my house as a guest, which is perhaps the answer to your question. So, since I have been invited at talks, corporates, clubs, associations, and they give me trophies and mementos, startup contest mein मैं जीता हूँ. So my house was full of trophies and mementos and certificates and my photo on it. And in the lockdown, whenever I woke up, I used to see my living room with these 1,150 trophies on the walls and the shelf. And it started expanding my ego that all these trophies are talking about my past achievements, right?
yeah,
It's a past achievement. Every day is a new day, it's a renewal of life. Sachin Tendulkar cannot carry forward even one run from his previous match century. He has
sure,
to start all over again. And so, yes, CA, I have a CA degree. I have worked hard on it in the past and I got it rewards. I got into stock market, I made money, I got name, fame in stock market, and then I quit. Now that if I'm not doing anything related to CA, but although I'm using the knowledge to file my income tax returns, of course, but then I should not be resting on my past laurels. I should not be dancing on my past achievements. So that reminds me that that puts me back on the ground. It puts me grounded that no, there is no escape to hard work. I have to again start batting from zero, whether it is Amrut Deshmukh or Sachin Tendulkar, right?
so
And
you
hence, if I,
yeah.
if I was in the traditional CA business, consultancy, practice, job, I would have used that prefix, right?
Yeah,
So now that I want to create this identity of booklet guy, and people can't identify you with two things. You
yep.
can identify Amitabh Bachchan only with one thing,
Mhm.
Sachin, one thing, Mahatma Gandhi, one thing. Identities are very important. But that doesn't mean that I don't care about the degree. Of course, knowledge never goes in vain. Even if I have not upgraded myself with the GST laws, still the other person assumes that I know everything about money. That's the best
Yeah,
thing about CA degree.
yeah, that's so like मेरे सर बोलते थे कि जब भी CA 50% मार्क्स पे ही पास होता है बट लोग सोचते हैं इसको 100% नॉलेज है तो
Correct.
ये वो बात है देन द लेट्स स्टार्ट विद द बुकलेट गाय टाइटल ओके डेफिनेटली कि बुक स्टार्ट करना है सो बुकलेट गाय कम्स विद बट हाउ डू यू लाइक व्हाट आर बुक्स टू यू like and when you say make India read this mission, so what do you mean by read? Just collecting information maybe it from where or just books or like when you say booklet it sort of उसको रोक देता है कि books में so where do you like connect these two dots?
Awesome. Awesome. I'm loving your questions, Vipul. See, what I learned, the biggest thing I learned was books and reading habit are not synonymous.
Okay.
It's like having dumbbells at home and lifting those dumbbells are two different things. We
Mm-hmm.
all
Right.
have those jump ropes, dumbbells at home. When was the last time you lifted them? So
Yeah,
I got this life task, this inner calling that I am perhaps born to cultivate reading habit amongst the youth of India. That has become the purpose of my life. Now, when you ask what is reading to me, and I think that's the biggest myth buster I would like to reveal. It's not holding a book in hand, sitting in a chair and reading. I'm not talking about that reading. I'm talking about the most underrated feature of reading, which is once you read and you have understood, to reproduce it in your own personal vocabulary. That is reading to me. Reading means comprehension. Reading and comprehension are not two different things. No, we say that I read without understanding it. No, that means you did not read only.
Yeah.
You're just looking at the black symbols on the white paper.
Yes. Yes.
Reading is comprehension, and the best way to measure whether I've understood that new concept, information, piece of knowledge, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
to reproduce it, to reparaphrase it in my own desi, personal vocabulary, using my own words and not imitating the language of the writer. That
Definitely. Like,
is the real way of internalizing a new piece of knowledge.
yes. So I guess this was the seventh habit, as you like you have even mentioned. Ki 10% is just only the reading books, and 90% is what you implement, or like what you implement in your life. कि मैंने ये भगवत गीता तो समझ एक बार पढ़ ली, लेकिन what lessons you are implying on your, and भगवत गीता से एक और बात कि भगवत गीता बोलते बार बार पढ़ो तो हर बार नई मतलब निकलती है. सो
Yes.
इसमें या सो जिसकी आपने बुक
Right.
रीड किया है, रिवीजन एंड देन इवेंचुअल सम रिटेंशन, ऐसा नहीं कि पढ़ लिया तो सब याद रहेगा. then what do you came to a conclusion, like how is he consciousness and observation, these two stuff, like you have read books, you have revised it, and only some part can be memorized or retained in your brain. So how do you see that consciousness and
Okay.
yeah, observation
Okay.
in lights?
See the kind of words you have used as part of this question: retention,
Mm-hmm.
remembering, memory, consciousness. See, we are confusing academic reading with general reading. Academic
Okay.
reading has made us so rigid because it is result oriented, it is marks oriented. Of course, perfection is expected, flawlessness is expected, 100% retention is expected. But I'm not talking about academic reading. I'm talking about general reading, non-academic reading. There is a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful phrase in Marathi. Unfortunately, there is no such phrase in any other language called avantar vachan. It's only in Marathi.
Mm-hmm.
Or at the most, you can say bahya vachan. This is non-academic general reading.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to non-academic reading, the whole picture changes. Now, I'm not going to be tested on the information that I am learning, right? There are no marks, there are no exams. Still, we use the same mindset. I should understand each and every word, each and every concept from the book. No, the whole objective of reading Monk Who Sold His Ferrari and Sudha Murthy's and Think and Grow Rich is to learn those three big ideas from a book. That's all. Now you talk about retention. The fact that you don't remember some lessons from the book, that means it is not the most exciting part of the book. That means it is not the most important part of the book. Don't underestimate yourself. तो कॉलेज
Mm-hmm.
में सबसे सुंदर लड़की का नाम याद रखने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती थी, वो अपने आप याद रहता था ना.
सही बात है.
Why? Did you try to retain her name? No. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm saying. The best part, you'll end up remembering it. And the best way to remember, still, of course, remembering is important, at least those three big concepts, is to repeat. Repetition, repetition, repetition. Repetition is the friend of memory.
And
People
does
tell me,
this, yeah, yeah,
what are the chances of you name in your lifetime?
sorry, like your voice is not clear.
I think I lost my connection.
Yeah,
Did I lose my connection?
yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So I was saying, what are the chances of you forgetting your own name, Vipul?
Maybe
Spec.
zero.
मैं अगले जन्म की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ अभी.
Yeah,
Impossible?
yeah, almost, yes.
Impossible that you will forget your own name?
Mm-hmm.
People, is it getting stuck? I don't know. Is the video
But
getting stuck?
yeah, video getting stuck, but I can hear you. It's fine.
Okay. So why is it that you will never forget your name? You are so confident because that's the only word you have repeated maximum number of times till now in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Repetition
Definitely.
is a friend of memory. Now, when it comes to repetition, people think highlighting it on the on the book, underlining, taking those fluorescent green color highlighter, fluorescent orange color highlighter, pen, pencil, rubber, scale. वो पेन भी 3 कलर के रहते हैं, रेड, ब्लू, ग्रीन. No, this is not the way. This is only decorating the book. You're not going to remember anything. It's like saying, if you underline and say that, yes, I understood everything, it's like saying, I understood the recipe by only garnishing it at the end with coriander.
Mm-hmm.
You're just decorating the dish, right? So,
Yeah.
best way to internalize a new piece of knowledge is to, again, to reproduce it. Close the book. It sounds so paradoxical. If I want to learn more, I should close the book more number of times. Because if I keep the book open and try to reproduce, I'll be tempted to copy the language of the author.
Mm-hmm.
Words
Yeah.
are not important. Words are
Yeah.
least important. They are just the messengers. The message is in the meaning, in the concept.
Yeah.
Right? तो वो समझाने के लिए you have your own personal vocabulary. Now suppose my table is crowded, full
Yeah.
of books. I'll
Yes.
say my table is crowded. People might say this table is cluttered. See, the message is same, but we use different words. No,
Mm-hmm.
Americans use the words aren't, isn't. We don't
Mm-hmm.
use such words. We say is not, we are not. तो होता क्या है, वो चक्कर में हम वो ऑथर का लैंग्वेज कॉपी करने के चक्कर में we tend to forget because वो लैंग्वेज में अटक गए ना हम. That is not our language.
Yes.
If you read in English and you're not comfortable with English, reproduce in Hindi, reproduce in your mother tongue. समझना important है. और फिर retention will come as a byproduct. You don't have to work on retention separately. If you reproduce in your own language and you repeat.
Yeah. So just segueing from retention to discussion, like how retention can be more faster with discussion. Like what's your view?
Yeah.
Because you also do sessions with people, new
Correct.
books. Yeah, yeah. So just I haven't attended your session, but like just give us a glimpse कि वो session में क्या होता है and how and what should be discussion pattern, you know, कि ऐसे ही कुछ भी discuss कर लिया या how should be a particular book can be decoded, other perspectives को कैसे बिना मना किए हुए उसको और कैसे deep में ले जा सकते हैं.
See, Vipul,
Mm-hmm.
the first habit in my book, you know, I've written my book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective Leaders. Habit
Yes.
number 1 is very funny, and it's a non-habit. It says, don't take reading too seriously.
Yeah.
Now, the fact that you use the words decode, systematic discussion, that means you are taking reading too seriously. Will you use the same words when it comes to discussing Pathan movie? No.
Maybe not. Yeah. No.
You will just, or Chak De India movie, we will discuss. What we'll say? Acting, what Shah Rukh Khan ki acting, the team, the girls' team, and the message that we learned. That's all. Right? Talking is important. The moment you talk about a book or what you learn from the book, immediately the quality of conversation lifts up by 10 times. You stop gossiping, small talks go out of conversation. Yeah, जो फालतू जो रहता है, अरे वो विराट 0 पे आउट हो गया पागल, अरे वो बॉस तो नालायक ही है. All these things go out of your vocabulary.
Yeah.
So just the fact you discuss, how you discuss, इसपे भी rules डालेंगे, then again you are taking it too seriously. And when you take things seriously, if you make it feel special, it never becomes habitual.
Yeah.
Habits are casual. You see any of your daily habits, watching TV, listening to music on YouTube, chatting on WhatsApp, gossiping, they are so casual and hence habitual. And something which becomes habitual tends to be casual. It's a virtuous circle complete. Okay, so something is important to you. Don't make it special. Make it casual. जितने rules डालोगे कि किसी ने मुझे बोला, so Amrut, what is the right time to read books? I heard that morning time is the best time to read books. So I counter question them. What is the right time to chat on WhatsApp? वो तो कभी भी होता है, कभी भी हाथ जेब में जाता है, कभी भी मोबाइल बाहर आता है. Yeah. So ऐसा कुछ जितना रूल्स डालोगे, I know these are unwanted rules fed into our heads by the culture that unless I don't finish the previous book, I should not read the next book. किसने ये रूल लाया है भाई? Don't you leave movie half watched after 5 minutes to take a decision कि ये movie मेरे लिए है या boring है, right? Do you carry
Yeah.
the guilt in your mind? Or Ray, I watched that Thugs of Hindustan and I left it half watched. I insulted Amir Khan. I'm a bad movie watcher. No, see,
Watch.
that makes you laugh.
Yeah.
But when it comes to books, we take all the blame. We have to read word to word. दोस्त ने तो बोला था कि बुक बहुत अच्छी है पर मुझे नहीं पसंद आ रही है मतलब मेरे में कुछ गड़बड़ है and then you conclude that I'm a bad reader and books go out
Yeah.
of your life. There is nothing called good reader or bad reader. There is only reader and non-reader.
Yeah.
I have left hundreds of books half read and I don't feel guilty about it. नहीं मजा आया यार. Don't you think it is also the responsibility of the author to keep you excited, to keep you hooked?
Definitely.
It
Yeah.
is not all your fault. Even if you are reading my book and you get bored at page number 9, it is my problem, not your problem. I'm not encouraging you to leave the books half read.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to
Definitely.
remove the guilt from your head. It's okay. पाप नहीं कर रहे हो if you are leaving books half read. तो उसके बाद ये जो problems तो गए ना तेल लेने.
Yeah.
The serious ones. Yeah.
So, when you say like half reading or like ऐसा कुछ, so do you think there? I think there's a book called ये कि I'm not remembering the name right now, but the certain book chooses you. You know, like in Harry Potter, the wand chooses the magician, or so ऐसा कुछ होता है कि book chooses you sometime. That book
Yes.
particular.
Yes.
Uh,
100%. 100%.
yeah.
You're right.
So please like
You hit the
elaborate this
bullseye.
thought. Like yeah.
Yeah, I am naturally drawn to some books. In fact, this is my recent discovery that more than books, I am drawn to the people who wrote those books, the authors. See,
Mm-hmm.
movies, again, I am using the analogy of movies because you can easily relate with them. होता है ना ऐसा कि एक पर्टिकुलर डायरेक्टर की मूवी हमको पसंद आती है एक दो बार तीन बार आपने उसके अलग अलग पिक्चर देखे एंड नाउ फॉर एग्जांपल राजू हिरानी वो कुछ भी पिक्चर निकालेगा मैं जाके देखूंगा because I know he makes movies for me. मेरे टेस्ट वाले हैं with entertainment and message and light comedy and family, no फालतूगिरी. So कल को वो कुछ भी पिक्चर निकालेगा, I'll blindly go without waiting for a review from my friend. Same has started happening with books. So there are some 3-4 authors. वो कुछ भी लिखेंगे, कुछ भी नया बुक लेके आएंगे ना मार्केट में, मैं जाके उसको ब्लाइंडली खरीद लूंगा और पढ़ लूंगा. Like Simon Sinek, author of Start With Why, Leaders Eat Last, Finding
Yeah.
Your Why, Infinite Game, सब बुक्स मैंने खरीद लिया और पढ़ लिया. Then Seth Godin is one of my
Yeah.
favorite authors.
This is
Lynchpin,
marketing.
Purple Cow, yeah, this is marketing, Tribes. And then another one of my favorites is uh, Adam Grant. Adam Grant is an amazing. He has written so many books. Yeah, uh, Think Again is his
Yep.
recent book. तो ऐसा आई थिंक यू शुड गो बाय द ऑथर्स. एक बार वो कोई इंसान पसंद आया ना तो फॉलो हिज टेड टॉक्स, वॉच हिज इंटरव्यूज, पॉडकास्ट, रीड हिज बुक्स, फॉलो हिम ऑन इंस्टाग्राम, यूट्यूब. या लर्न मैक्सिमम बिकॉज वो आपका फैमिली मेंबर हो गया ना बिकॉज यू कैन रिलेट विद हिम.
Mm-hmm.
सो बुक इज वन ऑफ द मीडियम्स टू लर्न फ्रॉम पीपल. सी आप सिर्फ दो चीजों से सीखते हो, बुक्स और लोग. और बुक्स कौन
Yeah.
लिखता है? लोग. So basically, you always learn from other people. And book is
Okay.
just one of the stupid mediums,
So
right?
can we see like book as a capsule of their cumulative life experiences?
Yes, you're right. I mean,
Like
just imagine a person who has spent 10 years of his research on just one narrow topic like productivity or
yeah.
time management. Then don't you think it is safer to take his advice than my friend who lives in my neighborhood and comes late by 15 minutes every time and he's giving me gyan on time management? Although he's giving me right advice, still I will not take from him.
Is
Preaching is easy, practicing is what
yes.
matters.
ऑल्सो
So
लाइक इस पे रिटेंशन टाइम के साथ थोड़ा रिटेंशन कम हो जाता है
Yeah, of
इस
course,
पे.
as I said, and hence repetition. Repeat करने के बाद, once it becomes part of your character, make it your idea. See, मैंने इतनी बार repeat किया है. My selfishness is such a level that I started booklet for कि मैं सोशल ऑब्लिगेशन के चक्कर में अभी हर हफ्ते मुझे बुक पढ़ना ही होगा, बिकॉज यू गाइज आर वेटिंग फॉर द समरी,
या
राइट?
या
समरी बनाऊंगा, उसका एडिटिंग करूंगा, उसका रिकॉर्डिंग करूंगा, फिर उसके बारे में डिस्कस करूंगा जूम पे, हो गया ना मेरा काम, रिपीटेशन।
हम्म।
और फिर अभी इतनी बार टॉक्स में, पब्लिक टॉक्स, इंटरव्यूज में मैं बुक्स के आइडियाज शेयर करता हूँ, इतने इतनी बार रिपीट किया हूँ कि वो मेरे जहन में, मेरे नस नस में इतने बस गए हैं कि दे हैव बिकम माय आइडियाज नाउ। आई एट टाइम्स फॉरगेट कि ये कौन से बुक में था, कौन से ऑथर का था, बिकॉज दे हैव बिकम सो मच पार्ट ऑफ माय नर्व्स
यस
एंड मसल्स। दिस इज नॉट प्लेजरिज्म, दिस इज नॉट चोरी, दिस इज द होल पर्पस ऑफ राइटिंग अ बुक बाय द ऑथर्स, कि ये तुम्हारा है, मेक इट पार्ट ऑफ यू। आई हैव बिकम the book. The book has become part of me. That is growth, na? That is
या
nothing but growth,
डेफिनेटली।
right?
या सो फ्रॉम लाइक व्हेन यू से कि मीट में जाता हूँ, तो इससे एक क्वेश्चन आया था कि व्हाट डू यू ऑब्जर्व इतने भी मीट इवेंट्स में, हाउ द यंग जनरेशन इज टेकिंग not just reading or something, seeing information consumption, like how you this see this part कि लोग यंग जनरेशन इंफॉर्मेशन कंज्यूम कैसे कर रही है, बिकॉज द रीजन इज
हाँ।
एक वाइडर स्पेक्ट्रम में इस वक्त जेंजीज या जो भी बोलो वो बटे हुए हैं। इधर यू सी एक्सट्रीम कि भाई क्या होगा देश का, और यू सी इन अ वेरी ब्राइट मैनर these two spectrum, and then where the information consumption pattern or information consumption का source, right source lies.
Hmm. Yes, you're right. See, now because we are in, I always say, information technology era nahi hai, it is information overload era now.
Yeah.
That we are facing a problem of plenty, POP.
Mm-hmm.
कि
Yeah.
हर चीज is in abundance. Now, what happens is, I read a book called The Paradox of Choice. We love choices. We think that, if there are more choices, I get the freedom to choose. Yes. But the more number of choices, the more we fail to choose. And even if we choose from those 1,000 videos, there is always a fear in my back of the mind that, am I watching the best video? There could be a better video than this one. You observe your own behavior.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you want to read an article on pollution in Dubai, for example, pollution in Dubai, what you do, there are 1,000 hits given by Google when you write the keyword in the search bar. तीसरा वाला open करके एक और tab. Now there are 5 tabs open. You start reading the first article from the first tab. After reading the first paragraph, that chatter box starts. पर वो दूसरे वाले में शायद अच्छा रहेगा. And you stop there and you switch to the next Chrome tab. See, it's a mirage. Always the grass is always greener on the other side. The same thing happens with these reels. You always think the next video is better one. There is always a better video next. And there is never ending. This is never ending. Why? Because the supply is unlimited and it's free. So we don't know
Yeah.
where to stop. We don't know where to stop.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, मैंने इतना कुछ देखा, पर मजा क्यों नहीं आ रहा है, सेटिस्फेक्शन क्यों नहीं आ रहा है, ऐसा एक फीलिंग आता है. बहुत वीडियोस देखे मैंने, पर क्यों नहीं ऐसा एक सेंस ऑफ अचीवमेंट आ रहा है, राइट? दैट्स बिकॉज इट हैज बिकम ऑल शैलो शैलो शैलो. देयर इज नो डीप वॉचिंग और डीप रीडिंग. गॉट इट? एंड सो इसका सॉल्यूशन क्या है? जस्ट ट्रस्ट गूगल ना. अगर गूगल पे आप सर्च कर रहे हो तो पहला वाला बेस्ट होगा ऐसा अज्यूम करो और बस उसको चिपक के रहो. व्हाई दैट थर्ड एंड फोर्थ एंड फिफ्थ, राइट?
Yeah.
Or else you are lost in that maze, in that never ending chasing game. So this is more important. Of course, I am not an exception to this. Huh? I have fallen prey to this. कि वो यूट्यूब पे साइड पे जो सजेशन रहते हैं ना, उस पर क्लिक करने का मन करता है. और वो थंबनेल तो ऐसे बनाते हैं, बाप रे, कि आपको क्लिक करने का मन नहीं करता है, राइट? ऐसा मस्त थंबनेल पे कोई सुंदर लड़की रहेगी, क्लिक करोगे तो अंदर वो लड़की होती ही नहीं है ना?
Yeah.
राइट? दिस इज ट्रैप्स, दिस इज एम्बुश. वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस, कि वो लोग जितना इजीली हमको मैनिपुलेट कर सकते हैं ना, उतना हम भी उनको इजीली हैक पैक कर सकते हैं. by switching off the notifications, just disable all the notifications. Open YouTube with a clear purpose. Social media scanning or is not bad, but doing it without a purpose is bad. I'll go. I have a clear plan to watch 3 videos of Jay Shetty. That's all. And then I'll come out. कितना भी वो नूरा फतेही का फोटो दिखे, थंबनेल दिखे, मैं उस पर क्लिक नहीं करूंगा. Howsoever tempting it might be.
ऑल्सो जो ये ऑडियो प्लेटफॉर्म्स आ रहे हैं अभी ओवर द टाइम, जैसे कुकू एफएम हो गया, तो वो लोग ओवरकम कर रहे हैं मतलब बुक रीडिंग. पहले के लोग बहुत ज्यादा बुक रीड कर रहे थे, अभी जैसे जैसे पॉडकास्ट वगैरह आ गए हैं तो लोग ऑडियो को सुनना ज्यादा प्रेफर कर रहे हैं. मतलब इसको थोड़ा सा एलाबरेट कर सकते हैं.
Yeah, I think thanks to the disruptive nature of internet, the gamut of reading has expanded. Or rather, we should expand the meaning of reading. See, let's try to define a book. जो book है, is it really the black ink on white paper sandwiched in a cardboard? If that is the real meaning of a book, then the most knowledgeable person in this book world should have been the Ragdiwala. For
Yeah.
him, it's a perfect definition, right? Not for you and me. For you and me, this book is just a medium to transfer the great ideas and thoughts of the author into our mind. And how come the medium becomes more important than the message? Medium could be anything. Through eyes, through ears, how does that matter? So
Mhm.
listening to podcasts, listening to TED Talks, listening to my audio summaries on Booklet App, they're all part of reading. PDF, Kindle, yeah. Don't
Yeah.
you think watching Steve Jobs interview on YouTube is as good as reading part of his biography? Is he
Yes.
going to say opposite in the interview and write opposite something else in this book? Very, very unlikely. Huh? Now you're listening to me. Probably I'm writing my next book. I've already mentioned 10% of my book as part of this podcast. You have read 10% of my book already, which is unpublished. Congratulations.
Yes, sir. We will be first buyer maybe.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Just like the main reason I asked that question is how the when you go in the meet and all, how the young people are asking questions to you, like what you are observing. कि जैसे कि when the
Hmm.
Q&A forum gets started, कि now you can ask the
Hmm.
Amrut Deshmukh sir. So what do you think?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I think the most common questions, I got the question. The most common questions that pop up from after my talks during the Q&A session are all reading problems. Amrut, I easily get distracted. I check my WhatsApp every now and then book goes out of my schedule. Or I doze off after reading 5 pages. कौन नहीं सोता है, मैं भी सोता हूँ कभी कभी. मेरे पास एक ऐसा स्पेशल एक पाइल ऑफ बुक्स है मेरे बुक शेल्फ पे. जब मुझे रात को नींद नहीं आती है ना, गलती से कुछ ज्यादा कॉफी पी ली और नींद नहीं आती, तो आई पिक अप वन ऑफ द बुक्स फ्रॉम दैट शेल्फ. आई कॉल देम एज बुक स्लीपिंग पिल्स. वो इतने बोरिंग है बुक्स कि बस एक पैराग्राफ पढ़ो एंड यू आर इन योर डीप फैंटेसी ड्रीम्स. डोंट आस्क मी द नेम ऑफ द ऑथर्स, दैट विल बी वेरी बिग इंसल्ट. So these are the questions. I call it as reading problems, that I don't remember what I read. You only raised that question. I don't get enough time to read books. हम तो सब अंबानी के औलाद है ना, हम इतने बिजी रहते हैं कि हमको टाइम नहीं मिलता है बुक्स पढ़ने को. अगर if you are all really so busy, then Facebook, Instagram would have been a big flop, ना. The fact that they are such a super hit, that means हमारे पास बहुत सारा वेला टाइम है, right? So you never have. It's not that you don't have time. I'm a slow reader. अमृत, मेरी बुक खत्म नहीं होती. मैं स्लो स्पीड रीडिंग पे मैं बोलता हूँ. आई हैव लेफ्ट मेनी बुक्स हाफ रेड. उसके बारे में हमने अभी बात की. कौन सी बुक्स पढ़ने हैं, कहाँ से शुरू करना है? These are the questions. So I am there for you. इसी का तो बीड़ा उठाया मैंने. इन सब के सवालों का जवाब मेरे पास है. Yeah. In fact, that's the purpose of my life, to solve all your reading problems and ensure that books will never go out of your life. In fact, they become an integral part of your daily routine. And hence, I use the word reading habit. मिशन मेक इंडिया रीड इस मुहावरे में, इस फ्रेज में बुक्स का नाम ही नहीं है. देखो, बुक वर्ड ही नहीं है. आई डोंट स्टैंड फॉर बुक्स, आई स्टैंड फॉर रीडिंग हैबिट. बुक खरीदना और उसको रखना अलग बात है, उसको रीड करना अलग बात है. या इसे सीए करना और सीए होने में कितना फर्क है वो हम लोग को पता है. Vipul, I can't hear you. Are you on mute? Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Continue. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, whatever. Maybe a flow through. Yeah. I was asking about the journey. Yes. So, do you remember in the past, like कि कुछ when we talk about academic readings and to the boundaryless reading, कि when you just pass to the boards and then you expose to the real world, कि यार मैं साइंस पढ़ रहा हूँ बट साइकोलॉजी बहुत अच्छी लग रही है. साइकोलॉजी में सर्टेन कॉन्सेप्ट है जो मुझे बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है और हो सकता है इसमें करियर बनाऊं या नहीं बनाऊं. बट ये रीडिंग एज ए रीडिंग हैबिट एज ए इंफॉर्मेशन कंजम्पशन मुझे बहुत सही लग रहा है. And compared to the academic reading, so do you remember in your life any certain point or in a phase कि यार इधर पे मैं कन्वर्ट हो गया था, अब मुझे रीडिंग बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है ना, मेकन अ पार्ट एंड पार्सल ऑफ माय लाइक पर्सनैलिटी.
Yes, 100%. Jab, so I think if you ask me one change that
Mm-hmm.
after reading thousands of books, just one change, how can you summarize all the 2000 books that you have read? And the biggest learning, I have learned that the journey is not outward, the journey is inward. ये कुरुक्षेत्र का जो जंग है ना, वो कुरुक्षेत्र इज नॉट अ प्लेस आउटसाइड एंड
Mm-hmm.
महाभारत, इट इज विद इन अस. It's always the war between the good and evil. Yeah. So instead of just pointing out faults from others, which is very easy, how about looking into myself and every day, how can I do something less wrong? Forget about being perfect. How can I be less wrong every day? And धीरे धीरे क्या होने लगा? Instead of talking about success, I started talking about progress. Success, I think this word success is overused so much. How to be successful, how to succeed. ये सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है, because it is point in time. The right orientation is a craftsman's mindset. You know what's a craftsman mindset? जो एक मूर्ति बनाता है इंसान, he is so lost in the process of creating that sculpture, and then the end product, the end result is one of the stupid byproducts. Yes, the end image is clear in his mind, but he becomes such a unison with the sculpture, right? He and the murti becomes one. He's so lost in refining the line and perfecting the edges of the murti. पर यहाँ पे क्या होता है हमारे बिजनेस में या फिर पढ़ाई में वगैरह, वी आर सो ऑब्सेस्ड विद द रिजल्ट्स, और उस चक्कर में हम प्रोसेस को एंजॉय नहीं करते. वेर जो रिजल्ट होने वाला है ना, यू आर गोइंग टू एंजॉय द आउटकम ऑफ द रिजल्ट फॉर नॉट इवन मोर देन 5 seconds. जब कोई माउंटेनियर पहाड़ चढ़ रहा है, suppose
Mm-hmm.
he's climbing the Mount Everest, he's going to take some 6 months to climb, right? And once he reaches the peak, how much time he's going to celebrate? वो खड़ा रह के ऐसे हाथ करेगा, I conquered Mount Everest. 5-10 seconds, 1 minute. Then what is more logical? The 99% of the time is consumed by the process, climbing the mountain, and 1% time is taken to celebrate the achievement. I might as well focus on the process and get busy in the path कि अब अच्छा यहाँ पे पत्थर आ गया तो मुझे इसको डॉज करके यहाँ से जाना है, यहाँ पानी पानी है तो मुझे रास्ता बदलना है. Oh, am I losing the track? Let me check the compass once again. Talk to my friends, help each other to climb the Everest collectively. प्रोसेस में खो जाओ और फिर वो कब ऊपर चढ़ जाओगे समझ में नहीं आएगा.
Yeah.
Right? So success gets replaced with progress. Progress gives you motivation. Slow progress is better than no progress.
So when you the question I was asking is was कि जब we talk about journey, जब 99% वो एक प्रोसेस, इट मेक्स लॉजिकल सेंस कि उसको एंजॉय करना, जब एंजॉय ज्यादा देर तक करना है तो उसको एंजॉय करे. बट द मेन
हाँ.
अंडरलाइंग जो साथ में आता है इज दैट कि following your instinct and listening, like clear listening, good listening to others. So how you can tell someone or guide someone through this, just elaborate on this idea that following your instinct and listening, good, be a good listener basically.
Wow, I think this is the most common unutilized skill, listening. We all are bad listeners, including me. Yeah, we most of the time we listen to the other person not to understand that other person
Mm-hmm.
empathetically, but but to reply. Listen most of the time to reply, not to
Yeah.
understand. कि कब वो सामने वाला बोलना बंद करे और मुझे बोलने का मौका मिले.
Come back.
Yeah. So I also had this bad habit of interrupting people when they're talking. So now what I do is a genuine attempt that when somebody is talking to me, anything, any damn thing, whether it is their painful past, sharing a good news, sharing an event, gossiping, kuch bhi ho, I make sure that I ask a question related to what he or she is talking and try to dig deeper, because not every person writes a book. When I say I'm a reader, I'll be stupid to say that I can learn only from books. Don't you think if I listen to Vipul with the intention to understand, I'm also reading Vipul's unwritten book?
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure whether Vipul is going to write a book in his lifetime.
Yeah.
So I better listen. Right? So
Yeah.
it's like we are all young blood. We should act like a sponge. No, absorb everything. Whether it is books, YouTube, TED Talk, podcast, friends around you, काम वाली बाई, driver. You know, Maulana Waiduddin Khan,
Okay.
very renowned writer. Uh, he always used to learn from everybody. So he was traveling in a taxi cab, and he asked the driver कि भैया आप कितने साल गाड़ी चला रहे हो? तो वो बोला कि 25 साल साहब. बोला अरे वाह, तो 25 साल में कभी एक्सीडेंट हुआ है का गाड़ी का? तो नहीं साहब, एक बार भी नहीं हुआ. तो क्या बात कर रहे हो? तो फिर क्या रीजन क्या है, क्यों एक्सीडेंट नहीं हुआ है? एंड द आंसर दैट टैक्सी ड्राइवर गेव profoundly changed my approach towards life. A taxi driver taught me through his book. You know what he said? साहब, ड्राइविंग इज ऑल अबाउट, हिंदी में बोला उसने कि साहब, ड्राइविंग मतलब दूसरों की गलतियों को संभाल लेना. Now
Oh.
suddenly driving becomes like a video game कि सामने वाला तो पागल ही है. नो, वो तो कट करेंगे ही, लेन क्रॉस करेंगे ही, उल्टा नो एंट्री में घुसेंगे ही. तो मेरा काम है डॉजिंग करना और उनकी गलती को संभाल लेना. एंड इट हैड सच अ प्रोफाउंड इम्पैक्ट ऑन मी कि अरे हाँ यार, ड्राइविंग तो नाउ व्हाई रेस्ट्रिक्ट दैट फिलोसॉफी ओनली टू ड्राइविंग.
Yeah.
ड्राइविंग तो अभी जॉयफुल हो ही गया मुझे मेरा. आई एम एंजॉयिंग मोर ड्राइविंग देन प्रीवियसली. कि कोई कट मार गया तो आई वुड टू फ्राउन एंड शो द मिडिल फिंगर. नो, अभी सब बंद हो गया. बिकॉज ठीक है, वो गलतियां करेगा और मेरा काम है संभालना. एंड देन जैसे माँ बाप अपने बच्चों की गलतियों को संभाल लेते हैं, वैसे मुझे हर चीज में करना है अभी. मेरे दोस्त ने कुछ गलती की, हाँ ठीक है, मैं उसका बाप हूँ. मुझे उसकी गलती संभालनी है. Suddenly my communication changed. You know, I'm more of an affectionate, caring person for them. Just one silly change in the mindset. Huh?
Yeah.
Who taught us? A taxi driver.
Mm-hmm.
A taxi driver is never going to write a book.
Yep. So like this, so संभाल लेना, I call it like ऐसा कि complain नहीं करना है, या कि अगर कुछ फॉर एग्जांपल आई जस्ट रील से ही मे बी 1.5 week बैक, उसमें बोला कि दिस इज अ 1 week चैलेंज, डोंट कंप्लेन, लाइक वॉट एवर
Ah,
हैपन्स इन योर लाइफ, जस्ट डोंट कंप्लेन. एंड अगेन राइट इन कॉमेंट, कॉमेंट तो नहीं किया, बट आई इंटरनली सॉ द चेंज, लाइक हाउ लाइक एवरीथिंग चेंज अराउंड मी. इवन
yes,
लोकल
yes.
ट्रेन छूट गई है, ओके कोई बात नहीं, मुंबई है, फिर 5 मिनट बाद वापस लोकल ट्रेन है, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है.
Very good. Very
कोई
good
ऐसा,
thinking.
कोई ऐसा ये गलती से पाँव पे चप्पल लेके चले गया, कोई नहीं, वो जल्दी में, उसकी जर्नी में भी ज्यादा फास्ट है. लाइक जस्ट
Hmm.
इग्नोरिंग ऑल दो स्टफ एंड फोकसिंग ऑन कि अभी टाइम है, मेरा गोल का टाइम अभी, मेरी टैक्सी 10 बजे आएगी और मैं 9:30 बजे इधर दादर स्टेशन पे हूँ, 20 मिनट में अंधेरी
Very good.
पहुंचूंगा, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. सो लाइक दिस चेंज
Wow.
व्हेन आई
Well said.
गॉट
Well
इनटू द
said.
फ्लो. सो इट्स लाइक गॉट इनटू द कि अदर पीपल, व्हेन आई सी क्राउड, तो उधर पे हर एक के ऊपर एक स्टोरी ऐसा नोटिफिकेशन का सिंबल रहता है. आई सॉ इट्स
Hmm.
कि सबकी अपनी एक स्टोरी का लोडिंग में है, लाइक वन डे दिस लोडिंग विल एंड, एंड किसी को पता नहीं कि वो स्टोरी किधर गई, एंड देन इट विल गेट लॉस्ट.
Ah.
सो ऐसे जितना भी इंटरेक्शन हो सके लोगों से, मे बी इन लोकल ट्रेन, मे बी समटाइम्स
Hmm.
ट्रांसजेंडर्स टेल सो मेनी लाइक थ्रिलिंग स्टोरीज, व्हेन दे ऐसे ही
Hmm.
कोई डोर पे खड़े हैं और मैं ऐसे खड़ा था, एंड देन कि तेरे को डर नहीं लगता नीचे गिरने से, यदि कभी ऐसे गिर गया तो मैं जैसे ऐसे फन में कि आपको डर नहीं लगता कि इतने सारे लोग आपको कैसे देखते हैं। तो उन्होंने
हाँ
बहुत ही अलग स्टोरी बताई विच आई कांट टेल, बट बहुत ही अलग कि मतलब इतने सारी स्टोरीज लोगों के साथ चल रही है। एज यू मेंशन कि ये सब अपनी कहानियां लिख रहे हैं, किसी को अपना क्रेडिट देने का मौका मिलेगा या नहीं पता नहीं।
हाँ,
So like how do you see life in like now after reading some 2000 books? So how, like, what perspective has changed? Not just keep make India read in personal
हाँ.
life, a life around in your house, among your friends maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe a guy who was a naughty guy जो कॉलेज में एक टिपिकल लड़का जो भी गलत काम करता है, सब वाहियात काम, वो सब किया है मैंने कॉलेज के जमाने में. एंड देन सच अ substantial change in me, like I've learned to put a pause before responding anything. Yeah, because if some किसी ने मुझे गाली दी, and if I reciprocate with the gali, then don't you think it is that person's victory that I have moved away from my own character and living his character?
Yeah,
तो जब गांधी जी बोलते थे कि अगर किसी एक कोई आदमी आपके एक गाल पे तमाचा लगाते हो तो दूसरा गाल ऑफर करो, we are not supposed to take it in the literal meaning.
yeah,
What he wanted to say is, let him live his character, you continue living your character. If you slap him back, then it is his victory that he has injected his character in you, right? पर
yeah,
क्या है, आजकल गांधी जी को गाली देना बहुत फैड हो गया ना,
yeah,
इट्स अ फैशन.
common. So
So I think these are the things that whenever something adversity happens in my life, I simply take a pause. अगर कुछ नेगेटिव फीडबैक देना है, क्रिटिसाइज करना है, I take a pause of 2-3 days and then give a feedback. It is completely different had I given it spontaneously, impulsively.
yeah, yeah,
I'll give you an example. So there is I'll tell you how the booklet house structure is. There is one room where we sit together, and we have our lunch 2 rooms away. There is a dining room which is 2 rooms away, little away from the workstation. और वो रूम बंद करके हम खाना खाने जाते हैं. तो now see, I saw one fault there. I was already at the dining table waiting for people to come. And then there is a guy called Parth and Farid. We all work together. So all of a sudden खाना खाते खाते मैंने बोला पार्थ और फरीद को कि ऐसी कोई टेक्नोलॉजी आई है क्या जहाँ पे एक फैन है, उसकी हवा इतनी तेज है कि वो 4 रूम तक, मतलब भिंती के ये दीवार के उस पार भी हवा जाए. ऐसा
yeah,
कोई टेक्नोलॉजी है क्या? तो नहीं, ऐसा तो कुछ नहीं है. नहीं है ना, तो फिर ऑफिस का फैन क्यों चालू है? एंड एवरीबडी लाफ्ड. एंड तो एंड ऑल द पर्पस गॉट सॉल्व्ड, राइट. मुझे बुरा नहीं लगा फीडबैक देने में, बिकॉज इट्स अ नेगेटिव फीडबैक, इट्स अ क्रिटिसिज्म. आई
mhm,
यूज्ड ह्यूमर, बट दैट वाज पॉसिबल ओनली व्हेन आई टुक अ पॉज. आई सॉ द फैन वाज ऑन, but and then after 10 minutes I gave them a feedback. Everybody laughed and they went and switched off the fan. This I would have never done 5 years ago. मैं चिल्लाता कि अक्ल नहीं है, कितनी बार बोलूं तुमको फैन बंद करने का, पैसा पेड़ पे उगता है क्या, all those typical
हाँ,
boss वाला employers do this
mhm,
bossing. No, I have to be a leader. लीडर का काम क्या है कि to make the other person realize the rare skills and talents that he himself is not aware of. That's the main role of a leader. तो इसलिए सर पे बर्फ, मुंह पे शक्कर रखोगे, आई थिंक नो प्रॉब्लम्स आसपास भी नहीं आते मेरे.
yeah. So just question ki, are you into spirituality and like stuff? Is it?
See, I think I am too young or too naive to talk on spirituality. I mean, I'm yet to gather a lot of knowledge and wisdom on to talk on spirituality and these things. I'm still in the learning phase. For me, I mean, I think we are not human beings trying to walk the spiritual path. We are already spiritual beings
Mm-hmm.
trying to walk the human path.
Yeah,
It's like weight loss. कि सिक्स
yeah,
पैक सबके अंदर है, कि ऊपर की चर्बी है इसलिए वो दिख नहीं रहा है, तो उसको हटाना है. तो सेम लाइक
yeah.
स्पिरिचुअलिटी, वी आर ऑलरेडी स्पिरिचुअल पीपल ट्राइंग टू वॉक द ह्यूमन पाथ. तो अनवांटेड चीजें को निकालना है, अनवांटेड
Mm-hmm.
डिस्ट्रैक्शन, अनवांटेड अट्रैक्शंस. So you have to undo things. Not to meditation is not about taking something, it's about removing something. Like the way we remove excess fats to lose
Yeah,
weight.
I guess I got the answer. So yeah. So like when you read books, what would be the ऐसे बुक शेल्फ में से चल रहे हैं ऑथर्स का नाम दिख रहा है, यू जस्ट विजुअलाइजिंग कि और भी चीजें हैं, देन यू सडनली स्टॉप. यू डोंट स्टॉप कॉन्शियसली, बट यू स्टॉप कि चलो, या तो ज्यादा देर चल रही है, या तो बहुत सारे बुक्स लगातार है कि यार अब तो एक बुक उठाना है, या तो टाइम हो गया है. देन कभी ऐसा हुआ है कि बहुत ही अलग कोई लिटरेचर उठाया है, नॉट फिक्शन, ऐसा ऐसा कुछ, कि कभी लिटरेचर ऐसा उठा के कोई एक लिटरेचर आपके दिमाग में ऐसा है कि ये पढ़ा है और इसको लगा कि यार ये कोई क्यों नहीं पढ़ रहा है, ये इतना अंडररेटेड क्यों है, ये सर्टेन जॉनर इतना
हम्म
अंडररेटेड क्यों है.
हम्म या बहुत बार हुआ है, बहुत बार ऐसे हुआ है कि वो बुक का मैंने कभी नाम भी नहीं सुना है, गलती से कहाँ पे मैंने पढ़ लिया, एंड इट टर्न्ड आउट टू बी लाइक बाइबल टू मी. एंड इट्स सी एवरी ऑथर मे नॉट बी अ ग्रेट मार्केटर, प्रॉब्लम
हम्म.
वो होता है. तो आई थिंक ये मेरी ड्यूटी है कि ऐसे जो हिडन जेम्स है उनको लाइमलाइट में लाना. देयर इज अ रोमन क्रिजनैरिक नाम का एक ऑथर है, नाम भी नहीं सुना
ओके.
होगा तुमने कभी.
या.
रोमन क्रिजनैरिक, उसने बहुत सारे बुक्स लिखे हैं, द एज ऑफ एम्पैथी, द वंडर बॉक्स, एंड आई फेल इन लव विद दैट गाय. इट्स लाइक मॉन्क हू सोल्ड हिज फरारी के ऊपर के लेवल के बुक्स है वो, या थिंक एंड ग्रो रिच एंड रिस्पेक्ट वर्ड, उस लेवल के बुक्स है. नोबडी हैज हर्ड अबाउट इट. मे बी ही इज अ बैड मार्केटर, maybe he's a good writer but not a great speaker, और इसलिए शायद उसके टेड टॉक्स या हमको देखने को मिलते नहीं. सो आई थिंक ये मेरा काम है, ये मेरी नेशनल ड्यूटी है, बिकॉज आई विल डू ऑल द हार्ड वर्क फॉर यू एंड गिव द बेस्ट ऑफ द बेस्ट बुक्स टू यू इन द फॉर्म ऑफ समरी एंड रीड देम. तो यस, डेफिनेटली ऐसा होता है कि राइटिंग इज वन स्किल, मार्केटिंग इज अनदर स्किल, स्पीकिंग इज अनदर स्किल. तो एक ही इंसान में सब कुछ होना जरूरी नहीं है.
कैन यू टेल सम लाइक मराठी और लाइक हिंदी ऑथर्स people should explore on?
Yeah. First book of my life was Shamchi Ai, gifted by
Okay.
my mother, written by Sani Guruji. Right now, I'm on this plan to write English summaries of regional languages.
Yeah.
For
Okay.
example, Achyut Godbole is a very renowned writer in Marathi.
Mhm.
He has written many books like Nanoday, Boardroom, Kimayagar. And because I'm a Maharashtrian, I can read Marathi and write in English. I can take the advantage. But when it comes to other languages which I don't know, Gujarati, Punjabi, I'll take help from people like you, the 50 lakh people as part of the community. And we all can make India read in their respective regional languages.
Nice. Like one of the, like Premchand, everyone knows, but Premchand को पढ़ते कम लोग हैं.
Hmm.
प्रेमचंद ये गबन, गोदान, मानसरोवर, चीजें बहुत हैं, बट कुछ कुछ लाइक इवन स्मॉल स्टोरीज, फॉर एग्जांपल स्टोरी लाइक कफन. द कफन इज अ स्टोरी कि यहाँ पे,
Often.
या बहुत ही छोटी स्टोरी है जहाँ पे एक बहू है घर में, और वो प्रेग्नेंट है, और जो बाप और बेटे हैं कोई काम के नहीं है, निठल्ले हैं. अपना जो पैसा मिला लोगों से खाना, ये पैसा मांग मांग के खाते हैं. एंड ऐसा
Hmm.
कि बहुत बीमार हो गई वो औरत, मे बी शी वॉज नॉट प्रेग्नेंट, तो बीमार हो गई, और वो धीरे धीरे से बिना दवाई की वजह से मर गई. और फिर उनके पास इतना ही पैसा नहीं था कि कफन आ सके, कि बॉडी को जलाया जा सके ऐसा. तो उन्होंने, गांव वालों ने बोला यार ये दोनों क्या करेंगे, इनको पैसा दो, कुछ तो मतलब करें. तो कफन तक का पैसा नहीं था, लोगों ने पैसा दिया, ये दोनों जन बाजार गए. डेड बॉडी घर पे पड़ी हुई है, इंतजाम हो रहा है, और इन लोग बाहर गए कफन ढूंढने के लिए, इनको कफन नहीं मिल रहा है. तो उन्होंने वो पैसे का भी चाय जलेबी ये सब खा लिया. तो मतलब इंसान इतना नीचे गिर जाता है कि कफन तक के दूसरों की, जब आंखों के सामने इतने सारे अनवांटेड जो चीजों के पर्दे आ जाते हैं, वो उसके थ्रू देख नहीं सकता, उसे सब डेकोरेशन लगता है, वो सारे पर्दे डेकोरेशन लगते हैं और वो उसके थ्रू देख नहीं सकता. तो जिंदगी, वो डेथ वॉज जस्ट अ मेटाफर. उनकी इंसानियत की डेथ हुई है और उन्हें उनका भी कफन नहीं है. सो दैट्स व्हाट, की बहुत ही छोटी स्टोरी, इतनी है, मे बी 5 6 पेज.
Wonderful story. I loved it. Yeah, Premchand, stories of Rabindranath Tagore. These are timeless epics, I guess.
या वन ऑफ द बुक लाइक मे बी निराला, या आई डोंट नो, निठल क्या, निठल्ले की डायरी is a book, and the first line of that book is क्या कभी निठल्ला डायरी लिख सकता है? लाइक बस इससे स्टार्ट होता है, एंड आई वाज इम्प्रेस्ड कि क्या
हाँ.
स्टार्ट है, एंड आई एम जस्ट रीडिंग. So like these are my effort is like whenever someone talks about कि
Molecules.
इंटेलिजेंट इन्वेस्टर पढ़ा क्या, ये है क्या, वो नई बुक है सिल्क रूट पढ़ा क्या, बोला भाई तूने गबन पढ़ा क्या, तूने कायाकल्प पढ़ा क्या, तो
Hmm.
ये the lessons in those in subtle lines, for example in the कायाकल्प में भी, कि जैसे कि एक राजा की बेटी रहती है, वो स्टार्टिंग गुम हो जाती है, एंड हर स्ट्रगल, कि कैसे वो किसी दूसरे घर में पलती है, फिर रानी को किसी से पता चलता है, एंड फिर उसके बहुत ही छोटे से पार्ट के लिए रीबर्थ का मेटाफर आता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल योर
Hmm.
स्टोरी, कि कैसे मैं कॉलेज में अलग था और इधर पे एकदम
Hmm.
अलग हूँ. तो मनुस्मृति में भी
Hmm.
एक द्विज करके एक कॉन्सेप्ट आता है, जहाँ पे बताया जाता है कि हर इंसान के कर्म से, क्योंकि कोई ब्राह्मण बन सकता है, कोई क्षत्रिय शूद्र वैश्य बन सकता है कर्म के अनुसार.
Hmm.
तो कर्म के अनुसार अगर कोई शूद्र छोड़ के ये तीनों हैं, तो उनके जिंदगी में द्विज होता है. तो ऐसा नहीं कि रीबर्थ लेके डेथ के बाद रीबर्थ होगा. इस लाइक बहुत ही दूर का कॉन्सेप्ट, बट एवरी स्टेप में आपके प्रोग्रेसिव रीबर्थ हो सकते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल आपने स्टार्टिंग में बहुत ही अलग अलग काम किए, कुछ समझ में नहीं आया, बट अचानक आप एक आइडल बन गए हो, लोग आपकी तरफ देख रहे हैं. तो देयर वाज अ पॉइंट ऑफ इन्फ्लक्स जहाँ पे रीबर्थ हुआ है आपका, internal rebirth, and the world is seeing
Wow.
you in that light. Oh,
This is huge, people. I mean, I'm so proud of you, a CA student having such an in-depth knowledge of Indian literature. So proud of you.
yeah. So like maybe my mom's side is like maybe gracious. उन लोग पढ़ बहुत, like they are, the one podcast I did
Gracious.
my sister Sanskrit podcast. Like she is like doing PhD in Sanskrit. All this like those guy I'm nothing भाई. वो लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, मैं मिस तो भाई ये थोड़ी सी क्वालिटी दे दो. Again I will be distracted. कार्ल सेगन की एक रील देखी थी मैंने, उनमें उसमें उसमें उन्होंने कहा था कि हाउ ब्यूटीफुली ही इज डिफाइंड बुक्स, लाइक जस्ट की विजुअलाइजेशन, बेसिकली कि कोई एक, मे बी इट कॉमेडी, मे बी इट लाइक कोई स्पोकन वर्ड, एवरीथिंग कम्स टू आर्टिकुलेशन. So how do you see the articulation in any maybe conversation or maybe in books?
100%. See, in fact, our brain is wired for visualization and no other thing. See, how many of you have complained that I doze off after while reading book? Everybody complains. How many of us have complained that I doze off while scrolling Instagram news feeds? Nobody. That shows that our visual sense has taken over all other senses. Our eyes have evolved more than our nose, ears, and our taste buds. So we humans have so much evolved when it comes to seeing that जब भी कुछ नया देखते तो हम पहले देखते हैं, फिर सुनते हैं, फिर सूंघते हैं. Whereas animal, they first smell, then they listen, and then they see.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we have conquered the animal kingdom because our eyesight has improved a lot, and our smelling capacity is almost gone. For example, this mic might smell something to my pet dog, but I can't smell it.
Yeah.
Right? So if visualization is so powerful, and our subconscious mind का एक मजेदार किस्सा है कि a real tiger in front of you, a tiger in the TV, and a tiger in your mind on your imaginary canvas, they all are same for our mind. He's such a stupid, innocent child. He doesn't understand the difference between a real tiger and tiger in our imagination. We have to take complete advantage of this. This is the only gift bestowed by nature on human beings. No other animal can imagine. Do you know this? We can't imagine. That's why we have evolved the most. We are ruling the animal kingdom. That's why this mic was invented. That's why this phone was invented. That's why this window was invented. Everything that is manifested in the real world was an imagination once in someone's mind.
Yeah.
The aeroplane, the rocket, the tripod, everything. So when I read, I'm not reading, I'm seeing. I'm not reading the words, I'm seeing the meaningful pictures, like a movie ऑटोमेटिकली आपका रीडिंग स्पीड बढ़ेगा, बिकॉज एक्चुअली आई एम नॉट रीडिंग, आई एम
हम्म,
सीइंग, सो सीइंग स्पीड बढ़ेगा,
yeah,
राइट.
yeah,
एंड देन आई एम नॉट फोकसिंग ऑन इंडिविजुअल वर्ड्स. ये एक प्रॉब्लम है स्कूल टीचिंग में. वी आर टॉट टू रीड वन वर्ड एट अ टाइम. उसका प्रॉब्लम क्या है? फॉर एग्जाम्पल, द लाइन इज, आई एम टॉकिंग टू विपुल. दिस इज द लाइन परहैप्स यू आर रीडिंग इन अ बुक. नाउ आइसोलेट द वर्ड आई. कुछ मीनिंग है उसको. यस, द वर्ड हैज अ मीनिंग, बट इट्स अ वेरी लिमिटेड मीनिंग. उसमें कुछ पिक्चर नहीं क्रिएट हो रहा है, कुछ नहीं. बट आई एम टॉकिंग इज अ मोर मीनिंगफुल फ्रेज,
mm-hmm,
राइट. तो मैं उस पूरे ग्रुप ऑफ वर्ड्स को देखूंगा. आई विल नॉट रीड द इंडिविजुअल वर्ड्स आई एम रीडिंग. I will
yeah,
see it. I know it's little uncomfortable to when you're trying for the first time.
yes,
I
yes.
took 8 months to undo the old habit of reading individual words and seeing the pictures. So I am talking is one phrase, meaningful phrase. To Vipul. The moment I connect another meaningful phrase to Vipul, which is again a group of two words, suddenly the picture is complete. It's a bigger picture. Are you getting my point?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is how. So reading is not about words, those black symbols. It's about visualization, conceptualization, imagination, which is nothing but thinking. The
Mm-hmm,
more you increase your thinking speed,
yeah,
as a natural consequence, your reading speed will increase.
yeah. I guess this was the reason again want to give the Harry Potter example. Like how
Yeah,
every kid read the Harry Potter and imagined their own Hogwarts and everything.
yeah,
And when
correct,
the Hogwarts came, it was somewhat similar what everyone imagined on that line. So it got, अरे हाँ मैंने तो ऐसा सोचा था, ऐसा ही हैरी सोचा था. What they described.
exactly,
So it's very
correct.
tough. What every time हैरी पॉटर जैसा कोई मूवी बनेगा जो लोगों ने सोचा. For example, the Sherlock Holmes. When we see the those जब पढ़ते हैं कि या ये बेकर स्ट्रीट पे ये हुआ, बारिश हुई थी, जूते गीले थे. Those droplets is only your droplets, not किसी डायरेक्टर ने दिखाया है. वो तुमने सोचा वो घास पे वही घास है, वो दूसरे घास उस सेट से नहीं बनेगा. So sometimes ये मिस हो जाता है. So maybe the last few questions is when we say best books and worst books, as you said, there कोई काफी सारी बुक आपके लिए नहीं बनी है. इवन व्हेन यू ट्राई, 4-5 बार एफर्ट मारा बट छूट जाता है, फिर लीव इट, पढ़ना नहीं है. सो
Mm-hmm.
ऐसी जस्ट 3 बुक्स एंड यू कैन गो ऑन रिकमेंडेशन कि ये पढ़ लो, अच्छा है, नुकसान नहीं करेगा ऐसा.
So you talked about bad books, though. I don't think there is anything called bad book or negative book.
ओके.
अगर किसी को कुछ नफरत फैलानी है तो वो बुक क्यों लिखेगा? वो एटम बॉम्ब बनाएगा, आरडीएक्स बनाएगा, राइट? दहशत फैलानी है तो. सो देयर इज नथिंग कॉल्ड पॉजिटिव नेगेटिव बुक. देयर कुड बी अ रेलेवेंट बुक एंड इररेलेवेंट बुक given the time of life you are into,
या.
right? Like for example, the book called The Autobiography of a Yogi. I
यस.
started reading.
या.
Complete bouncer to me. Let me honestly admit, मुझे कुछ भी नहीं समझा.
ओके.
Maybe I'm yet to gather that much knowledge and wisdom. Right? Maybe 10 years later, it could be my favorite book. I never know.
या.
Right? So as of now, at this point of juncture, my favorite books are Start With Why by Simon Sinek. Then How to Win Friends and Influence People
ओके.
by Dale Carnegie. This is an life timeless epic. It's a Bible to me once again. Unposted Letter by Mahatri Ra is one of the Indian spiritual gurus. Amazing orator. You can watch his
वाह.
videos.
द
Mahatri Ra's
टाइटल इज सो अमेजिंग.
un, Unposted Letter.
या.
I mean, जिसको इसको मैंने ये बुक गिफ्ट की है ना, उन सबका यही कॉमन आंसर है कि ये बुक मुझे 10 साल पहले क्यों नहीं मिली. It's such a great read. So as of now, these are the 3 books I would highly recommend.
So like any lessons from these?
Oh,
Yeah,
uh,
you can go on elaborating कि like how, एक तो क्योंकि मल्टीपल ऑल्सो जस्ट अटैच वन क्वेश्चन कि मल्टीपल रीडिंग्स का जो कॉन्सेप्ट है, लाइक हाउ डू यू सी दैट कि एक बुक को बार बार पढ़ना, वी अगेन
mhm.
गो थ्रू, वी समटाइम फाइंड सॉल्यूशंस, कि यार समझ में नहीं आ रहा, घर में ऐसे बैठा हूँ, जस्ट कोई भी बुक उठाया, कोई भी पेज, एंड यू गॉट द आइडिया. कोई एक लाइन देखा कि
हाँ,
हाँ भाई, अरे ये करना था, and you immediately close that
Hmm.
book and implement कि वो problem है वो solution, even
Yeah,
this thought line.
I do this. I do indulge into rereading the same book,
Mm-hmm.
but इतना नहीं करता हूं मैं, because as I said, एक बार वो बुक पढ़ ली ना, तो वहां से मेरी जर्नी शुरू होती है to bring those ideas out of the book
Yeah.
and make it alive through my conversation, through my actions, right? So don't you think it is much better than rereading? Because now you're talking, you're enlightening the other person. He
Yeah.
might ask some of his doubts, questions, and then उस चक्कर में you get deeper into the thought. So शायद author ने भी नहीं लिखे. You
Yes.
go beyond the author. This is real knowledge. Whereas rereading is isolated. Only I will benefit out of it. Yeah. Whereas when I learn something and discuss, I am repeating. So it is as good as rereading, right? In my own way. So this is what I do. No, again, as I say that it's book reading is not about holding a book and reading.
Yeah.
That is just one part, 10%. 90% your duty starts after you turn the last page of the book. The journey
Mm-hmm.
begins there. That's not the end, that's the beginning. यहाँ पे लोग
Yes.
बोलते हैं चलो हुश बुक खत्म हो गई. No, now I have to pull up my sleeves. It is an added responsibility for me to bring the
Mm-hmm.
ideas alive.
Yeah.
Yeah? And then pass it on the book to your friend. Don't keep it on the shelf. I think it's a very selfish act to keep the book on the bookshelf. I know many will not agree. वो मेरी बुक है वो वापस नहीं करते हैं अरे फटार मैंने 300 रुपए खर्चा किए. So what? That is selfishness. As I said, once you have read that book, it is useless to you. You should start talking about it. Give it to your friend, ask him to read, and then ask him what are the top 3 learnings from that book. Suddenly, your conversation will go up. The quality of conversation will be amazing, right? And
Yeah.
then, when the book again goes to my second friend, he reads it, gives back to me. I give it to the third friend, fourth friend, fifth friend. And now the book has gone through 10 different hands, touched 10 different lives. And now somewhere there is beautiful handwriting, somewhere it is bad handwriting, side notes, scribbling. किसी का विजिटिंग कार्ड है, किसी का बोर्डिंग पास है फ्लाइट का. And now the book is completely out of shape because of overuse. That's the most beautiful book for me in the world. And it is ready to be disposed. एकदम शान से respectfully I will dispose it off. It's not the book decorated in red ribbon in crossword. That's not the most beautiful book for me. So I think this unselfishness also came after reading these 2000 books. I was very selfish person. You know my story. I was in stock market. I was a gambler. I was a gambler. Stock market is nothing to do with social thing. It's anti-social. And now completely getting into social is like a life turned 360-degree.
And like I also asked like just to share the lessons among those three books you mentioned.
Oh yeah, start with why. I
Yeah.
always talk about it that no, it's, you always stand for the higher purpose, for why you started the whole thing, not for what.
Mm-hmm.
I don't stand for Booklet App. अभी पिछले आधे एक घंटे में मैंने Booklet App के बारे में कितने बार बोला है? Not
Yeah.
even single time I have talked about Booklet App. We are talking about reading habit.
Yes.
So when you never stand for the products and services, you stand for the higher purpose about the products and services. जैसे एक जमाने में कैंडल मेकर्स वर बिकमिंग बिलियनर्स. जब इलेक्ट्रिसिटी का आविष्कार नहीं हुआ था,
Mm-hmm.
दे वर बिलियनर्स. एवरी पर्सन हर गली में दे वर मेकिंग कैंडल्स, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कैंडल्स, बिकॉज दैट इज द ओनली वे ऑफ सोर्स ऑफ लाइट इन हाउस होल्ड्स.
Mm-hmm.
एंड देन इलेक्ट्रिसिटी का आविष्कार हुआ. Now those candle makers who thought that they stand for candles were wiped out by this innovation. But those candle makers who thought that no, candle is just one of the medium, I stand for enlightening the environment, enlightening the room, and I stand for the light, no matter where it comes from. Candle is just a stupid medium. Those who thought in these lines, who stood for the higher purpose about the products and services, they might have contacted Thomas Alva Edison, collaborate करेंगे, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी का क्या नया माजला है, वाकई में है क्या, and now they are the most successful entrepreneurs. Are you getting my point? Those who stood for candles were wiped out. So if I stand for Booklet App और कल को अगर Android करके चीज ही नहीं रहेगी अस्तित्व में, तो I'll be wiped out. But then if I stand for reading habit, I'll embrace new technologies and keep my why intact. My what's can change, my why will never change. And the why is to cultivate reading habit amongst the youth of India.
Am I
Okay. No, not so clear.
okay?
What
Just
happened?
I don't know. Am I audible now?
Ah, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. I was just saying ki, can you give me the glimpse of unposted letter?
Hmm.
Yeah, like
So unposted
yeah.
letter is a bunch of all the pearls of wisdom written by Mahatma.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the ideas that struck me so hard was that it's not important what you have. What is important is what you do with what you have.
Okay.
आपको लगता एक तो हमारे पास क्या नहीं है इसके बारे में हम सोचते हैं मोस्टली
Yeah.
क्या है उसका कैसे इस्तेमाल करके आगे बढ़ना है इसके बारे में नहीं सोचते I think
Mm-hmm.
that pearl of wisdom helped me when I got this idea of book summaries and I was waiting for a software engineer because I'm a non-IT guy. But then I read this book and I thought, हाँ मेरे पास WhatsApp है. Let me get started and correct the course along the way. Not just sit on the banks of the river and think about swimming. छलांग लगाते हैं
Diving into it.
and perhaps हाँ and let's वो on the way सब सब कुछ हो जाएगा. So I
Yeah.
love people who say that करके देखेंगे जो ऐसे करते रहते गूगल ही करते रहते जिंदगी और गूगल है
Yeah.
ही ना आपको और देने के लिए. I love
Yeah.
people who just get started with that all the incomplete information, incomplete resources, lack of funds, lack of ideas, lack of employees, but they get started. पता नहीं कहाँ जा रहे. And that's why I admire Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. A single
Yep.
man just left and reached Germany.
Yep.
रास्ते में इतने सारे प्रॉब्लम्स आए होंगे उनको बट नहीं एकला चलो रे एंड ही डिड इट फाइनली राइट सो आई
Yeah.
थिंक आई फॉलो दिस फिलोसॉफी कुछ भी आइडिया आएगा जस्ट जस्ट वर्क ऑन इट इन द वर्स्ट पॉसिबल वे एंड देन ideas don't come in full form they only get clear as you work on them
Mm-hmm.
not by talking about them not by holding meetings not by googling but by working on it छोटा सा कुछ करके उसको दे दो लोगों को दिखाओ
Yeah. I also have a thought on idea कि ideas एक तो वो तो है कि कहीं ना कहीं आपने सोचा है वो किसी न किसी यूनिवर्स में हुआ है just not concrete so what I think idea is definitely popped in your head but अगर वो idea को at that particular time you are worthy of that idea इसलिए तुम्हारे पास आया है
हम्म
if you don't execute in time it will definitely get executed by someone else so
हम्म
uh, take
Yeah,
action
yeah.
as
Ideas are useless. Ideas are useless. So,
yeah
you know, which is the
execution
place in
yeah
this world, which is the place in this world you get to see the best ideas? You know, which
no
is that place?
that it
Kabristan.
is oh wow got it yeah
Best of the best ideas which were in their minds,
mm-hmm.
but in the name of home loan EMIs, family responsibility, nagging wife, unsupported husband, bedridden grandfather, ongoing divorce litigation in the court. ये सब सबके घर में सब कुछ है वी ऑल हैव आवर ओन शेयर ऑफ शिट एंड वी थिंक माय शिट इज बिगर देन योर शिट और उस
yeah
चक्कर में हम वो आइडिया को एग्जीक्यूट नहीं करते एंड दोस आइडियाज डाई एंड बिकम पार्ट ऑफ द ग्रेवयार्ड
yeah so I guess this is the end of the episode one maybe yeah I would love to again have a conversation with you definitely so
आई
like
लाइक दैट
yeah so also so just maybe I'll talk after this pausing recording or just let me say what I observed in your booklet app is everything is great but is there any background music while you're reading there is only at the start or at the end can it be even in the between
या नो हार्म इन ट्राइंग गुड फीडबैक आई विल ट्राई
yeah so like just a suggestion where I work right now is a hooper is a music licensing company as well so Gaurav DG we call him yeah so he's a like CEO and a founder I am graduate so like he saw I'm very impressed by like work you're doing so yeah I just get him a conversation with me maybe we can figure out and something help so just conveying the
श्योर वेरी
message
गुड फीडबैक नाउ सी वन फीडबैक आई डू इट इन द वेरी नेक्स्ट बुकलेट You will see it. I'll try, take more feedbacks. अच्छा लगे तो continue करूँगा, नहीं तो I will remove it. This is how fast I implement. Within hours. Forget months. Within hours, I implement things.
Yep. Okay.
I'll do that. Thank you for the
Yeah.
feedback.
So how was the podcasting experience, sir?
Superb. I loved you. I mean, the kind of questions, these are the rare questions I've ever been asked. You actually dig deeper into me and you forced me to bring out the best out of me. So thank
Yeah,
you for inviting me, considering me as a deserving candidate as part of
definitely.
your podcast.
I
I'm
don't
very
think so.
keen to
Like,
see the
yeah, we are just connected to this podcast because the intuition game, the instinct I talked about is right from there 2019, and it has somehow little bit of the loading thing have 10% is done now, and we will definitely come again in the convergence in the future and do something more great. So
superb. I'm so glad you still remember my talk
yeah,
which you
I
heard
was at
back
the very back
2019
ऐसा ऊपर बैठा हुआ था. Yeah,
in that Kanti Vishara hall, right?
yes, yes, yes. In
It was
Thane के
a
इधर. Yeah,
खचाखच भरा हुआ था hall and I
yes,
got a
yes,
standing ovation at the end of the talk. I still remember. Awesome. Thank you so much. Very keen to see the final outcome
yes,
on
yes.
YouTube.
Yeah, sending him the Farid sir. Yes, thank
Thank
you,
you.
sir.
Happy reading, Vipul. Bye bye.
Happy reading,
Vipul
everyone.
and Trivikram.
Yeah,
Thank you so
he
much.
just got some work.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye, sir.